Hello, hello, and welcome to another Phoenix Fitness Fanatics cover feature spotlight. We are taking center stage on the Own It publishing platform, as well as a few others out there, the SoCal Connect and all of the Phoenix Fitness Fanatics platforms. I have an amazing guest today for you all. He is just awesome. He is our cover from July, Mr. Nicolas Jiles. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on in. Hey, good morning, Nick.
Hey, what's going on, Tiff? How's
How
everything?
are you? Good, good. Oh my God, I am so excited. I have been excited for this, and I'm gonna tell y'all, look, Nick is a new dad. He has a wonderful little one that is not even a month old. So I am just so happy that he is able to join us today because I know having that little one around, getting that lack of sleep, all that stuff is just really tough, and just being there to support your wife as well. So thank you so much for
Mhm.
taking the time to join us and tell us a little bit about just the experience of just having a little new feet in the house.
Well, let me tell you something. Anytime that you have, all right, our oldest daughter is 10, right? And so there's a lot of things you tend to forget. And so yeah, this little bundle of joy, we always like call them a bundle of joy because we like to keep everything positive when it comes down to the kids, because deep down inside we're like, you're taking my sleep. You're aging me fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, but seriously, it's been great. She's like I said, trying to figure her out. The little
Mhm.
facial expressions. I did not know babies had such crazy dreams. Like, her dreams are insane because she's up in there like, and all other kind of stuff. I'm like, what's going on with you? Do she need an exorcist? I don't know. So, but she is amazing. She is amazing. I mean, she's a poop, she's a poop machine, diaper destroyer, what I'm saying, sleep taker. She's all of that. But we love her.
Enjoy every moment, just like I told you backstage before we came out. Really enjoy it because in the blink of an eye, she's gonna be off to college. She's gonna be getting married. She's gonna be out there, and we're gonna be thinking like, oh my God, like I wish I had those moments. I wish I had that
Yeah.
that lack of sleep and that and having to hold her and comfort her. Her spitting up on you, right? You miss those times, so
No,
enjoy
I
every
can.
moment.
No, 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 no. Cause that spitting, that infamil smell is like, mm.
So tell me, so you are a vet, you are just, I mean, you have a lot of hats that you wear. You're a leadership coach, you're a
Mhm.
motivational speaker. That's where you and I met on the Sean Fair Leadership Circuit. We were
Yeah.
both there in Detroit. That was awesome. You're a retired Air Force Master Sergeant. So tell me a little bit about that and that experience, that journey.
So the military part.
Yeah.
Eh, well, so the military was great. Military was great. I loved it. It's a lot of experience, especially for our young kids.
Yeah.
Kids now, they need a lot of direction. I went to college first, and I still didn't know what I really wanted to do. And my dad was like, he's a prior army, so he fought in Vietnam, and so he was injured, and um, so he got out, and so what happened was I was at home one day and he said, "Hey," he's old school. He was like, "Hey, you either gonna work or you going to the military." I said, Shh. I said, you know what? Let me try the military out for a minute.
Yeah.
And I said, once I get done with the military, then I get everything else, going. And that's really what happened. So my first 4 years, I would say 3 years. 3 years in the military was great. And then on the fourth year, I was like, I'm getting out. And there was a guy by the name of Matthew Freeman who kind of took me under his wing. And he was my first true stepping stone to leadership.
Wow.
And this guy, I mean, he was just phenomenal. He was phenomenal, and he was really the reason why I ended up staying in and retiring.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you
So
went from wanting to get out in 4 years to spending, what
21.
was it, 21? Yeah, so thank you for your service, definitely. So, I mean, do you really feel that your military, like, did that play in that decision of becoming a leadership coach?
Okay, long story for that. Yeah, you know what? The part of being a speaker is you always have a story for something,
Right.
and so what happened? So there I was. Uh,
Mhm.
so I was at officer training school. I was one of the instructors there down in Maxwell.
Mhm.
And a guy came to me. He works up in DC, and he said, "Hey, I'm over the small business administration or something." And he said, "We want to recruit you because we like how you train, we like how you teach, and how you just interact with the students." And I said, "Okay," because most of the students I dealt with were either doctors, lawyers, or chaplains. So we're dealing with like top surgeons in the country who do like neurological surgery and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
so he said, "Well, we like how you just interact with everybody, how you train and everything. So that's what we're looking for." And I said, "Well, I don't retire for another 3 years." He said, "Don't worry, just keep in touch with me, and then we'll work. We'll go from there." So I retired, and so we moved to Alabama, and I'm like, "Man, okay, nice place, but let me go ahead and catch up with the guy, that was recruiting me in the first place." And so I
Yeah.
caught up with him. And so I don't know what happened, but a company that I was supposed to work with, some things didn't go well, I guess. And so they shut everything down. So
Mm.
now I'm like, dude, I came here, and in hopes, because my wife, she's doing great. And but I was like, this was the one thing that I was recruited to come here to do.
Mhm.
And so he said, "Yeah, things didn't go good." He was like, "Well, why don't you start your own business?" Like, I just retired from the military. I have no business experience. I don't know anything about starting the business. And he said, "You know what?" He was like, "Man, just step out on faith." I
Yeah.
said, "Okay." So a lot of praying and a lot of just meditation.
Mhm.
And I ended up saying, "You know what do I have to lose? So let me go ahead and step out on faith and start it." So that's really how everything happened.
Wow. And and that's what we got to do. We got to step out on faith. We got to just get into it whenever, knees knocking, teeth
Mhm,
chattering, but just having that faith that,
mhm.
our source, I mean, for me, it's God, it's just, all right, God. All right, Lord. I know you got me all the time. So
Yeah.
let me just jump,
Mhm,
and if we fail at it, it's okay. We failed for a reason. There's something better out there, right? So it's completely
mhm.
about the mindset,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So, what do you think was the hardest part though about taking that jump and going into like the realm of entrepreneurship?
Failure. Most people do not start a business because of the first thing that comes to their mind is failing. Like, if I start this, do I have enough money? And you know what? Most people don't even really consider the money part of it. They
Yeah.
think of, am I even going to survive? There are a ton of other people who are doing the same thing. What makes
Right.
me indifferent? What makes me think that I can do something different? You know,
Right.
and sometimes we doubt ourselves a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it comes down to a lot of coaching. When you're coaching those clients, a lot of it is getting them from where they are to where they want to be. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of confidence. A lot of people just really doubt themselves, and that was my biggest thing. I said, "You know what? What's the worst that can happen?"
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I think a lot of times people also let that outside chatter get in the way as well, because as you are trying to go out into that journey of being your own boss, opening your own business, you have a lot of people that are in your ear like, oh
Mhm,
my God, like what, like how are you going to do that? You can't do that. There's no way you can do that. And
mhm,
maybe it's family members, maybe it's friends, because there's so many different self-limiting beliefs out there that you have to do life a certain way. You can't
mhm.
go out, you can't jump out on that faith, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I commend you for doing that, because I mean, it's just amazing. So so what when you break down your coaching a little bit for us, like what do you specialize in?
So when it comes down to coaching, so really I specialize in disc. Okay, so DISC is your dominant, influencing, steadiness, and compliant.
Hmm.
I use that really during the coaching process. So if somebody comes to me and they say, "Hey, we want, I want you to coach me," and things like that, and I would say, "Okay, the first consultation, the first meeting is free." Because I want to make sure that I am being the best person for you. I don't want to, you'll have a lot of coaches who will go out there and say, "Oh, well, yeah, I can coach you." Okay, but you may not have the best relationship with them.
Right.
That's where you really get the most for your buck. If you have a good relationship with your coach,
Mhm.
and if y'all kind of vibing together, then you can do a lot.
Yeah.
But if you're just working with any old run-of-the-mill person who you barely even know, and the only time you really even talk to them is during that session, and it's all just business, 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 there's no
Mhm.
relationship, then what's the point?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to the disc, it helps me to understand that person. How can I communicate with them?
Mhm.
And because if I'm dealing with a D, then I have to be more direct. Or if I'm dealing with an I know, they love stories.
Yeah.
They love they love the animation and all that. All the hand
Yeah.
gestures. If you're dealing with that stayiness person, they want to know that you're loyal. They want to
Mhm.
know that you are there for them. You're not gonna do anything to jeopardize that relationship. And
Yeah.
if I'm dealing with a C, that compliant person, they want to know as much information as possible. So I need to come in there ready to give them everything that I have. So
Yeah.
so the better you know yourself, and I use the quote, to die no self be true. And the better you know yourself, then the better you are able to help somebody else. Because
Yeah.
now I know that I'm a C. I know that I used to be a high D, and I can be direct if I need to be. But I need to know my people.
Yeah.
And so therefore I can catch myself in certain situations as well. So when it comes down to the coaching, uh, that's really it. I figure out who I'm dealing with at the time so I can establish that relationship with them. And then
Mhm.
from there, we move on through a series of tools or just those meetings to get down to what it is where they are now, what obstacles they're dealing with, and how
Mhm.
can we get them to the next level,
Yeah.
because everybody wants to go to the next level. That's what,
Okay.
you know,
Right. It's time to level up all the time.
exactly.
So what benefits have your clients seen with the disc training?
Woo! Now we're talking about better communication because
That's so
so
important.
now have you had a disc assessment?
I have not.
Oh, come on, Tiff. Okay, we're gonna have to get you set up. We're gonna have to get you set up. So when a lot of people say this, everybody who's familiar with this, they automatically say, "Oh, this is for a business. This is for a company. This is for leadership and blah blah blah." It's not. It's not just for them. This is for families. This is for kids. This is for spouses. This is for, it can be church leadership. It can be for
Mm.
school teachers, right? This is for
Right.
anybody who want to know who they are. And then it's a 30-page report that says, hey, here's how your personality affects your management skills. Here's how your personality affects your relationships, how it affects your business, right? How it affects your environment.
Yeah.
So if I gave, let's say, you and your husband the assessment, and now you are able to better communicate with each other, especially if there's disagreement.
Hmm.
My wife is a super C. She is a like above. She wants. I can tell her, hey, the COVID number is going up. She's going to ask me, where did you get that from? What resources did you use? Where does it say that? And she is the Google queen. So
Okay.
so she's got to go on Google and she's going to look at about 5 other resources to verify this. But see,
Yeah.
here's the thing: I didn't know that at first until I went through the whole because I've taken a ton of assessments and certifications and stuff,
Yeah.
and so now understanding that with her, I know that I need to give her all the resources behind the statement, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, if let's say if your husband is a D and you're a C, so if you are a high data person and he is a, hey, tell me if I can or I can't, you give him all the information, but at the same time you say, here's a summary report. You don't give him 100 pages. You give him that paragraph to say, yes, here's what you need to know. Bam, let's do it. So you didn't waste your time because you're
Right.
still able to be that super C. You're still able to give him all the information he wants. And he can still say, okay, I have the information if I want to look through it at a later time, but you give me exactly what I need right now, which is the
Yeah.
answer.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about emotional intelligence, 'cause I know you
Mhm.
deal a lot with that. So tell our audience just a little bit about emotional intelligence, what that is, and
So when it comes down to emotional intelligence, you have you have different categories. All these different categories. Let's say you have your independence. How independent is a person? Where is their empathy? Where is their social relationships? And all of these things, and it's emotional intelligence. It deals with the emotions of people. How do you understand this person at work? How do you understand how this team works?
yeah,
And when you have a lot of leaders who bring in the emotional intelligence training, who bring in the DIS training, they are able to understand their people a lot better. Which
hmm,
now, in a lot of situations, people who have taken the emotional intelligence training and have gotten promoted a lot faster than other people. Why?
wow,
Because they're able to connect with
yeah,
everybody else, right?
hmm,
Because if I know that I am not an empathetic person, if I know that I am a very independent person, but I don't know how high that is,
hmm,
this report is going to give you whatever your levels are. It's going to say, hey, here's how you coach this person to improve their independence, improve their empathy, improve their relationships. And so now you're looking at 15 different categories. And now here's the crazy part about the EQ is it also talks about happiness.
mm,
So if you are not happy, it's going to go through all of those questions, and it
yeah,
says this person, their happiness, let's say you're between an 85 and a 110, right?
mhm,
But let's say you're at a 70. It's going to say this person may, well, it's not going to say it, but just through our training and everything, this person needs clinical help. They may
mhm,
be depressed,
yeah,
and it goes that deep. So
wow,
being able to, it also talks about your situational awareness. It is so many different avenues that emotional intelligence talks about that a lot of times we take advantage of. But how do
yeah,
you know if that team that you're dealing with, how do you know if they're performing at a higher level? You go through the training, you have the assessments. Now, all of those weaknesses that team may have, you can
hmm,
start coaching them. And the assessment helps managers to coach that team to where now that individual who is very dependent,
hmm,
you can now help them become more independent.
independent, yeah,
So now they can take
wow.
those tasks on by themselves.
Seeing that EQ, it's so important because, like
Yes.
you're saying, like if someone's at like that 70, right?
Hmm.
And if you're a leader that can see that, you can have that conversation with that person and be empathetic with that person and be able to help them to, maybe go and make that call, right? To get the
Hmm.
help. Instead of just, there are a lot of, and I see it as a flaw, being in human resources for many years, that you have, high level leaders that have these blinders on and they just feel like, you know what, they're just employees. They have a job. I give them insurance. That's it.
Yeah.
But that's where it's broken
Hmm.
because you have to go and you need to connect with your employees. You need to, know them. I mean, you need to be able to walk through your building and be able to say, hey, Nick, how's it going? How's the wife and the new baby? Not just walk up and good morning, and just keep going, right? Being able to just have that connection and, know a person's facial expressions, when that person's usually happy and have a smile on their face every day, and then all of a sudden, there's one day where they're just down, they're not even giving you eye contact. That's a
Hmm.
way of knowing that something's going on with someone.
That's
So
it.
just Just
That's
teaching
it.
that EQ is just, man, I love what you do with this. So just
Oh yeah,
amazing.
yeah. It's I mean, and then you have the EQ, so you have that assessment, right? And that's just your individual thing.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people don't know is because we always talk about emotional intelligence, but there's also another assessment called the EQ 360.
Mm,
Now, the EQ 360 is going to, once that person takes the assessment, the EQ 360 is going to say, hey, we want 20 of your employees or whoever from your boss all the way down. And
mm-hmm,
then you're going to have just a collective assessment for all of them. And they are going to tell you how you are as a leader. Right.
mm.
So the military has something called the unit climate assessment, and
Okay.
it was supposed to be anonymous, and I
Hmm.
guess it got to the point where some commanders would they would say, "Oh, I have a good feeling of who said this," or blah 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 and all that,
Yeah.
especially if it was something negative. But this assessment is all anonymous, so whoever gets picked, they get the assessment. They say, hey, this person is a great leader or this person sucks. This person,
Hmm.
needs to work on this. They need to work on that. And once you get the assessment, it tells you how you are truly looked at by everybody around you. So
Mm.
those people who think they are, oh, I'm the best leader in this company.
Right.
Are you? You know? And and you have a lot of bosses who want to really know, or those people who want to get promoted. Like I said, most people who I'm gonna take it back a little bit.
Okay.
You can give someone training all day long, right?
Hmm.
But if they do not take it to heart, and if they are not trying to actually use it to their benefit, it does no good.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I've gone through so much training, and some of it I'm like, I'm not gonna use this. So what am I doing? I'm on the phone. You know? I'm on social media. But
Right.
if there's something that I know that, because how do you, so if I tell a manager, hey, if you take this training, your chance of getting promoted a lot faster than your peers is higher.
Mhm. Right.
If you take this training, your chances of making more money is higher.
Hmm.
Now they're like,
Right.
oh,
Right. Yeah.
oh, well,
Let me
what
go
do I
take.
need
Let
to
me go
do?
take that. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
because
Where's it at?
inflation is a thing. We need money. so so they're like, well, how do I make money because I've taken this training? It's because you are better able to connect with your people. Now they look at you as a better leader than you once were, and you now all those blind spots that you had, you're aware of those. You start
Right.
working on those things, and then now I know that my situational awareness sucked. Now I'm working on that.
Yeah.
I know that my networking was horrible. I'm working on that, and now
Yeah.
I am connecting with people more because my empathy was non-existent, you
Mm.
know.
Yeah.
So now those bosses look at those managers and like, oh my God, I don't know what happened to them, but they're doing an amazing job. Their people are following them now. Their
Right.
their performances, the
They're being
performance is going up.
productive.
The
Right.
team building is crazy. The team cohesion is crazy. Everybody's
Yep.
communicating. Everybody's talking, and they're like, "What did you do?"
Right.
Like, I got in touch with myself.
That's right.
Mhm.
And see, and that's it's sometimes it's the hardest part, but we got to do it. Got to do
It
it.
is. It is because I would say like I'm the biggest critic of myself. Like I
Me
will
too.
I will kick myself to death. And sometimes, when other people will tell me something, then I'm like, okay, cool. This is something I need to, be aware of. But a lot of times you have to take the horse by the reins and say, you know what, let me see what I need to do.
Right.
And if somebody wants to take that assessment, I'm like, nobody else is going to see that. That's an assessment that you take. It goes
Right.
to you and it comes to me, if that's what you want. And then,
Right.
we go over that, and nobody else knows that, oh, my you know, like my independence, I'm so dependent on other people, but they don't know it because of how I portray myself at work.
Hmm.
So
So which do you, because again, you wear so many different hats. So
mhm,
which do you enjoy most out of coaching, speaking, and training?
all of them.
Yeah.
So, so I love coaching because I love people.
Yeah.
I love to try to figure people out,
Hmm.
and help people wherever I can. When it comes to training, I've been training for over 20 years. So
Hmm.
that's just one of the things that it's easy for me to do. Like I can walk into a room and kind of assess the room and say, okay, what I had planned, I'm not going to do that,
Hmm.
because now I look at kind of like the dynamics, and I can't use something that I've used in, let's say a younger generation of people, of an audience.
Yeah.
And, now I go back to my old school roots and use that. And then when it comes down to speaking, I mean, speaking is just, you're able to tell those stories to where hopefully it resonates in somebody else. And they're like, man, okay, if he can deal with this, then I surely can make something out of what I thought I couldn't.
Yeah.
So I love all of them.
Yeah.
But if I did have to choose one, it would probably be it may be training. Maybe training.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, training is that's empowering people, you
Mm.
know? I mean,
Well,
well, I guess coaching is too, but just I don't know, being able to just
well, here's the thing. Training cheats. Training cheats because you're also coaching and you're speaking at the same time.
this is true. It's like so
You
it
know?
encompasses everything, right?
Yeah. So if I want to go, all the way left and just forget about my slideshow and just start speaking, then I can. But
Right.
if I want to focus on like a group of people at a table, then I can have a coaching session. Or if I just want to mess with
Yeah.
one person, I can just coach them.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so I can utilize all of that.
See, I love that. So, okay, because again, you're juggling all these things and you've got family and you've got all this stuff going on.
And a dog.
How do you manage it all? Like what do you do? What does your self-care look like, Nick?
Um, I am pretty optimistic. I stay. I try to stay in a positive mind frame as much as possible. Um, Taking time out, like you have to, even if it's 5 minutes. You
Mhm.
have to take time out for yourself. I did another training course called Positive Intelligence, and positive intelligence is getting yourself from a negative mind frame into a positive mind frame. And now most people will say, how long does it take for you to meditate, right?
Mhm.
How long does it take you to meditate and become more positive? What's typical? Like 30 seconds
Mhm.
or
It
5 minutes?
wouldn't it depend on the person?
I think it would, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes down to your positive intelligence, it talks about different saboteurs that we have. And we all
Mhm.
have all these saboteurs. You have your judge. Your judge is like either you're judging somebody else or you're judging yourself.
Mm.
Now, your other saboteurs that are going to come in, one could be like mine is stickler, right? Because from being in the military, being that instructor, being the trainer, now every small thing stand out to me. So when it comes to my daughter, I have to do an 80-20 rule. 80% of it needs to be right, but I need to give 20% of a grace,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And understand that my 10-year-old is not going to be perfect. She's not going to make her bed perfect. She's not going to clean her room perfectly.
Right.
And so as long as I can do that, which took me a long time to do, but once I was conscious about what I was doing, then it
Mhm.
became easy. You have people who are restless. They always have to figure out, they always have to do something. I
Yeah.
have to do this. I have to do that. Um, you have your hypervigilance. Those people who are very hypervigilant, they don't let anybody else calm down. They are always like, "Oh my God, did you see that? Oh my God, did you see that?" You're like, "Why? Why?"
Just
And
stop.
so,
Just stop.
yeah. So you have so there are 8 other saboteurs that you deal with, and uh, and when you know about those now. How do you become positive when all those negative saboteurs are there,
Yeah.
right? And there's
Yeah.
different exercises you can use. You can use one that is just rubbing your fingertips together and you're focusing on your fingerprint. You're focusing
Mm-hmm.
on the like every ridge that's in your finger.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can look at something and look at the texture. You're looking at how it's shaped, the colors, and you're taking everything else from the outside. You're taking that out. But every time that you think about a noise from the outside, a school bus or kids, whatever that could be, you label it. You give it a name, and then you focus back on what it is that you were doing.
Okay.
You feel the weight, down all the way from your head down to your feet, and you just
Mm-hmm.
focus on that. So, how many times when we eat do we focus on all of the ingredients? Do we just
Right.
focus on the taste, or do we
Mm.
focus on the ingredients? Everybody focuses on the taste. We're like,
On
oh
the
my
taste.
God, this is great. This is the
Right.
best thing since my mama's hot water cornbread.
Okay.
But but if you sit there and focus on as many ingredients as you can,
Yeah.
it switches your mind. Um, if you take a shower, close your
Mhm.
eyes when you take a shower, and you try to focus on water, every water bead that hits you, you are changing your mind frame. And the thing
Mm.
is, you only have to do it for like 15 to 20 seconds.
Yeah.
That's it.
You can hit
So
the shift that quick.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Hey.
So I do that from time to time,
Mhm.
and especially if I have like a negative thought or whatever, then I just go into like it's called PQ reps, and you can just do those. And so if I see my client getting frustrated, or if I just meet somebody and I'm like, hey, what kind are you? Do you have a stressful day? And I'll just give them like two exercises, and this is just in meeting them. I'll give
Yeah.
them two exercises, like, okay, how do you feel? I'm like, oh my god, like I feel better, like exactly. Like it
Wow.
doesn't take, these, people, meditate for like an hour. What if you don't
Right.
have an hour? What
That's
if
right.
you wake up in the morning, you got the kids, you got the husband, you got the wife, you have all these different things going on. You don't have all that time. So
Right. You
if
just
you
need a minute.
yeah, so if you can do something in that minute time frame,
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you need.
That's a game changer right there.
Yeah.
Really is.
Mhm.
Wow.
Oh yeah. So it's fun. It's
Oh, I
fun.
love it. So tell me, before we close up, I got just a couple more questions for you. So
Mhm.
when we look at the companies out there, what are some things that the leaders can do to be able to keep their employees? Because we're seeing, like, what do they call it? The big resign, or the
Oh yeah, the great
universal
resignation.
resign, or whatever, resignation, or whatever that is. I mean, and people are just getting tired of
Mhm.
being at companies. They're tired of being unhappy. So what can leaders do that to, put into place so they can have that employee retention?
Connect. So
Yeah.
if we look at the leadership structure in a lot of companies, what is the range of most of your managers now? What's the age range?
They're young now. I mean, you got
Yeah.
them 20, sometimes 21,
Hmm.
21 to, 28, 30 years old, maybe in your early 30s. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And so if you get somebody that's out of college, and now most people now you can't keep them. You can't keep them because like they're not loyal, right? But you can't really keep them because they're looking for bigger and better things, or they're
yeah,
looking for something. Most of your young people want somebody who can connect with them. And if
mhm,
you're just telling them, hey, do this, do this, do this, do this, you're losing them.
yeah,
You are losing them. But if you give your managers, you give those people in the leadership roles training,
mhm,
and say, okay, here's how you make this person better. Here's how you connect with them. Here's EQ. Here's the disc. Here's the PQ. Here are all these different tools that you can use in order to keep your young employees and help build them up. There is a company over in, I think, in Australia. What they
mhm,
do is they have a young person, they have an older person. That young
Mhm.
person teaches them all about technology and how to do all these apps and all this other stuff. And the older
Yeah.
person teaches them how to communicate and how to engage with other employees to help build them up so that once they become a manager, they know how to lead. Right? We don't
Yeah.
have that. So
Yeah.
there's not a lot of programs out there, and it's called a pipeline, and they don't do that. So in the military, they would take the all of us old instructors and they would give us new ones. But
Mhm.
the thing is, they had us take these assessments first so that they can pair us up with people who we would be a good fit for.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So, like
Yeah.
your disc, if everybody takes a disc assessment, I'm not going to put two eyes together. You wouldn't get anything done because both of them want to go all over the place. And then they're like, hey, I can be creative with doing this. Oh, I can be
Right.
more creative. Oh, I just want to go and talk to such and such because I think they have just a great story. Well, who's keeping them on track? Right?
Right. Nobody.
Exactly. So, but if you put them with like a D or a C, that person is going to say, hey, let's reel this back in.
Mhm.
Let's focus back on the task. So if people would take the assessments, if they do the training, if they give their young employees the tools that they need at an early age, then they can get them ready to take those responsibilities. And like I said, the biggest thing is connecting.
Yeah.
If you're not connecting with your people, if I have a boss that I only see when there's stuff that needs to get done, we don't have a relationship.
That's right.
Colonel Juby, I love using her because every single day, no, you never knew what her attitude was. You never knew her emotional state.
Yeah.
But one thing that we did know was every single day that she came in, she asked every single person how they were doing. She connected every single day. Even if
Yeah.
she was running behind on something, she was like, "Hey, Sergeant Giles, how you doing? Hope you had a great weekend." She would make sure that she said something.
Yeah.
But now, what did that do for the morale of the unit?
That
Everybody stood
helps
behind her.
everybody. Yeah. Exactly. You're going to
Every,
support that person.
everybody was there. So
Yeah.
when you have leaders like that, who one, they're about business, but two, they're able to connect. They are emotionally connected with you, and they want the best for you. 69% of the population are S's, meaning that they are loyal to what it is that they are doing. They're loyal to the company. They're
Mhm.
loyal to those businesses. But if you are not giving them what they need, if you're not appreciating them, if you're not giving them those kudos every now and then, you're
Mhm.
gonna lose them. So
Right.
now that's
Yeah.
69%.
Wow.
And you're gonna tell me that 69% of the population we can't figure out how to keep them?
Okay.
So
See, come on
undoubtedly,
now. And I mean, and it's the little things that you can do. Like you said, a hello, you
yeah.
know.
And and a
Wow.
lot, yeah, and a lot of people they're saying we don't get the training. I was trying to work with this company, and the leadership there, even though they knew they had a ton of problems, they said, you know what, I think we can still work this out.
Look at you.
Their employees were saying, hey, when are we going to get this training? Aren't we scheduled for this training? They're begging them for leadership training. They're begging them for management training. But the leadership is like, I think we'll get through it. And they're about to lose a multi-million-dollar contract
Wow.
because of all the issues that they're having.
See, you got to connect with your employees, or else you're gonna lose. The company's just gonna lose, like you said.
Yeah.
Wow. Mm.
And even with that, like I said, if you had leadership who are doing what they're supposed to do, then your performance goes up, your revenue goes up. Who doesn't want that?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, Nick, do you have any words of wisdom that you can give our viewers today? This has been just an amazing interview, and I know you got a lot to do today. I know you probably want to give the wife a little bit of a break as well. I don't want her to come after me all the way to California saying, "Hey, you kept my husband all day long, and I had with the baby." So, give us some words of wisdom and encouragement to our viewers today.
Well, do what you can for your people. Try to connect as much as possible. If we are looking at everything that's going on in the world today with the shootings and everything like that, if you look at the state of our kids, we need to reach out to them. We need to let them know that we are there for them, that we are able to, that we can connect with them. And I think we can stop a lot of things that are going on. Um, the emotional state of the younger generation is not as good as it used to be.
That's right.
Families are not the same like they used to be. So
Yeah.
I think the only thing that I can really say is anytime that I can get on a platform in order to help somebody, then hey, hopefully, somebody listening said, hey, you know what? I love what he said. I'm going to use this, I'm going to use that, or I'm going to get in touch with, whoever, so that I can get one of these assessments, so I can help myself. And and it is a personal development.
That's awesome. Thank you. Well, everybody out there listening, if you want to connect with Nick, you can either get him on his LinkedIn. It's been going across the ticker, as well as his website, 180leadershipcoaching.com. Definitely get yourself the assessments if you want to be a better leader. You want to just be in just better relationships in general. Take the assessments. I'm going to get with you to take this DISC assessment, Nick. So we will definitely be talking about that. Thank you so much for joining us today. This has been just amazing. And look, good luck on your journey with your little ones, because a 10-year-old is
Yes.
always a little one as well. And we're definitely going to have you back again. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
All right.